Hello friends, we're continuing our reading and kind of personal commentary on Plato's Apology. If you want just the full audio book, then you can look in the description below. And if you want a link to the text that I'm reading from, you can also look in the description below. And I'm starting where he says, I have shown Athenians, so if you want to search for that. Right, and he's talking about he's on trial and he's interviewing Miletus, and he's just shown that Miletus doesn't really know what he's talking about when he talks about the improvement of the young. One of the charges against Socrates is that he's corrupting the youth. So Socrates says, wow, you must think a lot about what it means to improve the young and what corrupts them and all that. And he showed that Miletus really doesn't know what he's talking about. So he continues. Now he's going to deal with the other charge. So I'm reading now. I have shown Athenians, as I was saying, that Miletus has no care at all, great or small, about the matter, about improving the youth. But still, I should like to know, Miletus, in what I affirm to corrupt the young. I suppose you mean, as I infer from your indictment, that I teach them not to acknowledge the gods which the state acknowledges. So this is dealing with the other charge now about other gods or atheism, but some other new divinities or spiritual agencies in their stead. These are the lessons which corrupt the youth, as you say. So now, how is it that he's corrupting the youth? It has to do with this regard for the gods and the gods of the state. Miletus replies, yes, that I say emphatically. Socrates, then by the gods, Miletus, of whom we are speaking, tell me and the court in somewhat plainer terms what you mean. For I do not as yet understand whether you affirm that I teach others to acknowledge some gods and therefore do believe in gods and am not an entire atheist. This you do not lay to my charge, but only that they are not the same gods which the city recognizes. The charge is that they are different gods. Or do you mean to say that I am an atheist simply and a teacher of atheism? So are you saying that I teach gods other than what the state acknowledges, or that I'm a complete atheist, that I believe in no gods, which is the one that you are bringing against me? Miletus replies, I mean the latter, you are a complete atheist. Socrates, that is an extraordinary statement, Miletus. Why do you say that? Do you mean that I do not believe in the Godhead of the sun or moon, which is the common creed of all men? Miletus says, I assure you, judges, that he does not believe in them, for he says that the sun is stone and the moon earth. Socrates replies, friend Miletus, you think that you are accusing Anaxagoras, and you have but a bad opinion of the judges, if you fancy them ignorant to such a degree as not to know that those doctrines are found in the books of Anaxagoras, the Clazomenian, who is full of them. And these are the doctrines which the youth are said to learn of Socrates, when there are not unfrequently exhibitions of them at the theater, price of admission 1 drachma at the most, and they might cheaply purchase them and laugh at Socrates if he pretends to father such eccentricities. And so, Miletus, do you really think that I do not believe in any god? So he's referring to Anaxagoras, who does hold that teaching, and he's saying, look, you're not accusing Anaxagoras, you're accusing me. Or this made-up Socrates that people laugh at the theater. And so then Miletus replies, I swear by Zeus that you believe absolutely in none at all. So Miletus is affirming, you are an atheist. Socrates replies, not so gently, you are a liar, Miletus, not believed even by yourself. So he's saying that he's deceiving himself, or trying to deceive himself. For I cannot help thinking, O men of Athens, that Miletus is reckless and impudent, and that he has written this indictment in a spirit of mere wantonness and youthful bravado. Has he not compounded a riddle, thinking to try me? So he's saying that he hasn't really been totally honest in this. He's trying to show off in accusing Socrates in this way and posing a riddle. Socrates, he said to himself, I shall see whether this wise Socrates will discover my ingenious contradiction, or whether I shall be able to deceive him and the rest of them. For he certainly does appear to me to contradict himself in the indictment, as much as if he said that Socrates is guilty of not believing in the gods, and yet of believing in them. But this is surely a piece of fun. Okay. Important thing to point out here, a contradiction, the fundamental law of logic, is a law of non-contradiction, that contradictory statements cannot be true. And a contradiction works, you say A is and A is not. So if you say that the same thing is true and at the same time not true. So for example, if I said, the sky is blue and the sky is not blue, if I mean that in the same way and at the same time, if I'm using blue in the same sense, and I'm talking about it at the same time, because it does change at different times, right? But right now, it's blue and not blue at the same time. That's a contradiction, and that's not possible. That's how we prove statements wrong, by showing that there's some type of contradiction in there. And Socrates is saying that that's basically what Meletus is doing. He's showing a contradiction. Very astute of Socrates to have recognized this fundamental law of logic. Socrates continues, I should like you, O men of Athens, to join me in examining what I conceive to be his inconsistency, and do you, Meletus, answer. And I must remind you that you will not interrupt me if I speak in my accustomed manner. So you can imagine maybe people are calling out. So he's like, don't interrupt me. So now he's addressing Meletus. Did ever man, Meletus, believe in the existence of human beings and not of human beings? Right. There's no response, but there's an ellipsis. So you imagine someone's replying, I wish, men of Athens, that he would answer and not be always trying to get up an interruption. Did ever any man believe in horsemanship and not in horses, or in flute playing and not in flute players? No, my friend, I will answer you and to the court, as you refuse to answer for yourself. There is no man who ever did. But now please to answer the next question. Can a man believe in spiritual and divine agencies and not in spirits or demigods? So Socrates has been talking about how he was following the divinity, this prophecy. But he believes in that. So is it possible for him to believe in this spiritual prophecy, right? This obedience that he talks about to the God, and yet not believe in God? Meletus says he cannot. That would be contradictory. It wouldn't make any sense. Socrates says, I'm glad that I have extracted that answer by the assistance of the court. Nevertheless, you swear in the indictment that I teach and believe in divine or spiritual agencies. He's saying, look, that's what you say. New or old, no matter for that. At any rate, I believe in spiritual agencies, and you say and swear in the affidavit, but if I believe in divine beings, I must believe in spirits or demigods. Is not that true? Yes, that is true, for I assume that your silence gives assent to that. Now, what are spirits or demigods? Are they not either gods or the sons of gods? Is that true? Meletus replies, yes, that is true. Right? So Socrates is showing, look, I believe in the spirits, the spiritual agencies. You said so in the affidavit, and yet you're accusing me of atheism. Right? But the spiritual agencies, they have to involve the existence of the gods. It necessarily implies that. Meletus replies, yes, this is true. Socrates continues, but this is just the ingenious riddle of which I was speaking. The demigods or spirits are gods, and you say first that I don't believe in gods, and then again that I do believe in gods. That is, if I believe in demigods. For if the demigods are the illegitimate sons of gods, whether by the nymphs or by any other mothers, as is thought, that, as all men will allow, necessarily implies the existence of their parents, which would be the gods, he's saying, right? You may as well affirm the existence of mules and deny that of horses and asses. Such nonsense, Meletus, could only have been intended by you as a trial of me. You have put this into the indictment because you had nothing real of which to accuse me. But no one who has a particle of understanding will ever be convinced by you that the same man can believe in divine and superhuman things and yet not believe that there are gods and demigods and heroes. I have said enough in answer to the charge of Meletus. Any elaborate defense is unnecessary. But as I was saying before, I certainly have many enemies, and this is what will be my destruction if I am destroyed. So again, he's saying that if he is condemned, it won't be because of the people who are there condemning him in court and the official indictment that's there. It's going to be because of the bad reputation that he kind of earned by showing up the ignorance of important people throughout Athens as he was searching for wisdom and searching for wise people. Of that I am certain, not Meletus nor yet Anytus, but the envy and detraction of the world, which have been the death of many good men and will probably be the death of many more. There is no danger of my being the last of them. How prophetic that Socrates said that the world, because of envy, because of misunderstanding, because of hatred, because of our own problems, have destroyed good men, right? Jesus, Gandhi, the list goes on. And what happens is that good men, good people, they hold up a mirror to ourselves to see what we're really like. How we react to goodness, to true goodness when we see it, and true wisdom when we find it, or true beauty. That shows us what we're really made of. Do we respond rightly to wisdom, to truth, to goodness, and to beauty? Socrates, with what is happening to him here, is showing Athens that it's got some issues. There's always going to be bad men, and how they treat bad men, that doesn't necessarily show the real truth of who they are as a society, right? But what a society does to goodness is a real measure of what that society is. So we're going to hold off here and continue in the future. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the links in the description below.